Hello, what's up internet people? I just got off my first cruise ever as someone who didn't really have interest in going on cruises, but I was invited to one, and I just wanted to talk about all the research that I did before and everything that I wish I knew before my first cruise that I didn't really see online. So I feel like most of the people that talk online about what to do and what not to do on cruises are people that cruise all the time, and one of the most common things that I heard was not to fly in the morning of your cruise, which I actually did, and it was totally fine. So I flew from Boston to Miami from a 5 a.m. to 8 a.m.-ish slot. And honestly, if it's not in the winter, I feel like you're totally fine to fly in, because even if it's delayed for a couple of hours, you can still board the boat until the afternoon. But one thing I definitely wish I knew is that the Ubers to and from the port get super crazy. So we landed at 8 o'clock and then we went to get breakfast in Wynwood, and we left Wynwood around 11 o'clock in the morning with a boarding time at 1:30, and normally that's a 15-minute drive and we were just gonna go and wait there, but it ended up being over an hour and a half just because the traffic on the bridge to the port gets so bad because people are disembarking the ship and then new people are coming in, and everyone coming in kind of like rushes to get there early in the morning. So maybe like going a bit later, we would have gotten there at the same time. We ended up getting there around 12:45, and they did let us get on early. They didn't even check our time, even though the boarding time is 1:30. And apparently this is controversial. Like, we were trying to board at 1:30, but after this long Uber, we were just like, let's see if we can get in, and no one was really boarding at that time, so there was no line. So another thing I wish I knew is that they're not really that strict on anything in the whole cruise. I feel like, at least that was my experience on Freedom of the Seas with Royal Caribbean. Like, for both my boarding time and my disembarkation time, they didn't really check anything. I think as long as you're in like an hour window on either side, it's probably fine. So my disembarkation time was 9:10, and we just had breakfast and we left immediately after breakfast. It was probably around 9:10-ish, but no one was checking anything. So I think we could have honestly stayed a little bit later, and I read online that being like one of the last people to leave the boat is really nice because it gets less busy, and that was totally my experience. In terms of times on the actual cruise and me saying that they're not being that strict, I'm sure all cruises are different, but for mine, timing of things was not super important. Like, they do their events at the scheduled times, but you didn't have to have any reservations. You could kind of just walk in or leave as you please. So there was an ice skating show, a magician show, a Broadway show, and for all of those I kind of just walked in like 15 minutes late and I could still watch. There were still seats. If I wanted to do something else, I just left, and it was totally chill. They were not strict about any of that at all. This one might be controversial. I don't really know. I didn't really research this beforehand, but they do have like you can bring your own wine bottle on board. Everyone in my group brought one, but we met some people that said that they brought more than that. We also stopped in Cozumel, and on the ship they said like you can't smoke cigarettes, you can't have vapes, anything like that. And as soon as we got on land, the 7-Eleven was selling cigarettes. We were in a restaurant and they said you could smoke. I don't know if that's controversial. This is just my experience from what I saw. Someone else even had like a broccoli pen on board and were smoking on board. So I think it's possible. If you want to bring your own, I think it's a risk. Any of what I just talked about is a risk, and you risk getting it taken away or getting in trouble. We did meet someone who got their drink package revoked. We met someone whose friend was staying in the onboard jail. So I think they do enforce some things, but I think as long as you're not crazy, I don't think they're as strict as what I thought they were going to be. This next one is kind of tied into the Uber thing, but I really wish that I had a plan for disembarkation, or I researched anything about disembarkation. But basically, after you get off the ship, which I do wish I lingered a little bit more and was like the last one off, because when you get off, you don't get to wait in the terminal where there's air conditioning and bathrooms and stuff. You have to go outside, and it was so hot. There is a bathroom outside, but it's a hot bathroom, and the Ubers were super expensive, so we ended up just waiting there until the Uber surcharges kind of died down, kind of like mentally preparing where you're gonna go next and how much you're willing to spend on the Uber to get there, because the surcharges were crazy. So just, I guess, being mentally prepared about where you want to go and how much you're willing to spend, and maybe even potentially booking through your ship's transport services if you need to get somewhere quickly after. One of my friends left for a 10 a.m. flight, so he got off the ship at around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and he made it just fine. He did the self checkout, got away before the crowds. I ended up staying an extra night, but the check-in at my hotel wasn't until 3, so I did go there and drop off my bags and stuff like that, but I didn't really think about where I wanted to go and how hot it was going to be and how much I wouldn't want to be in the sun after the cruise, because the whole cruise you're in the sun, and then once you're on land it's like kind of vacation over. So yeah, I wish that I had kind of thought more about where I wanted to hang out after disembarking. I don't know why I didn't really think of this before, but in my head I wasn't thinking about how much I was going to be interacting with all of the staff on board. So So I actually wish I had brought more small cash to tip service workers as I was hanging out with them, meeting them, talking to them, because the staff is from all over the world. They totally make the experience for me. Shout out to my dinner waiter and assistant waiter, Marston and Jeffrey. They were amazing. We did tip them on the last night with cash we got from the casino, but I wish that we had brought more cash overall, because especially if you're going to the casino, you might end up losing it. You might not have any cash at the end. But I wish I had kind of known how much interaction that we were going to have with them, and especially the activities and things like that. You see the same people every day. I did not know that they work every single day with no breaks. So you're going to see the same crew every single day, and it's amazing. You can make friends and just have really nice chats and learn things about other countries. And I think in my head, I was not really ever interested in cruises because I was thinking, oh, it's like an all-inclusive thing. You don't really get that international exchange the same way that you would if you're visiting a country, but you actually get so much cultural exchange if you want it, because the staff is from everywhere. They had staff, I think, from like over 75 countries. And there was actually a scavenger hunt as well that you were supposed to go and find staff members from each of these countries. I wish I had done that, honestly, so I got to meet more people. This is also kind of tied into the staff thing, but I wish that I had known you really can't do everything, and you probably won't want to do everything. So I checked into my cruise, I think it was 45 days before the cruise. You can do that online, and through the app they show you what activities are happening at what time, and I had gone in and saved like different things that I thought I'd want to do every single day, and I knew I wasn't going to get to do all of them, but in the end I don't think I did even like 10% of them, because I was really just hanging out, talking, you know, drinking. I popped in and out of some things. Ice skating I really wanted to do, and then towards the end of the trip I was just like, there's so many other things that are just more fun that I'm getting caught up in. I ended up doing the flow rider every single day, not every single session. Yeah, I was trying from day one to get this white wristband that lets you go with the advanced surfers. That was really fun. I just did that every day, talked to the crew, Ariel and Guy and Aurora, they were amazing. So I guess naturally that means I wish I had planned what I really wanted to do. I was a little disappointed that I couldn't watch any of the shows fully through, because they were always around 7 and 9 p.m. and we would always eat around 8, so there was always like a conflict there. But I think I got overwhelmed with the amount of choices like before the cruise actually started, and then the day of the cruise they finalized the activities. So looking back, I wish on day one I just took a second to really be like, okay, I just want to do this one thing, and choose maybe 1 or 2 things every day that I really wanted to do, and then have those be in my plan. The next thing is for drinkers, and I wish that I had known that the drink package is its own activity. When you get the drink plan, it's like all you can drink, so there's all these different bars, you're trying to hit them all, you're trying to get your money's worth, and obviously if you're drinking, then it's like time is slipping away. Sometimes there's time changes on the cruise and you're socializing and stuff, and I think you don't really get to hit as many activities as you want. So tied into the planning thing, I wish either I had not started drinking until after the activity I wanted to do, or if I go on another cruise and I really want to do the activities on those ships, like I've seen some that are like water aerobics, or not water aerobics, but like water circus, something like that, I would really love to do. The ones on my ship, I was happy to see them, the parts that I did, but they weren't like I need to see them. If there was something I really wanted to do, maybe going into the cruise I wouldn't get the drink package, I would just do a la carte drinks, and that kind of takes away like a big chunk of time if you don't have the drink package. I also wish I knew, other than the crew, that just on cruises in general it's really easy to make friends if you want to. So even without the drink package, I think there's a lot of people either traveling solo or just with their friends, and some of the friends are off doing something else. Like there's a lot of times to either meet solo people or just groups of people's couples, whoever it is, and especially if you're doing the same activities, like you're going to see the same people over and over again. In my head, conceptually, before the trip, I just didn't really think about that. I was like, I'm coming on this cruise with my friends, we'll just hang out with my friends, and there's definitely people that do that too. With the flow rider, for example, I was meeting all these different people, but I didn't have an internet package either, so often I wouldn't have my phone, and I just never thought of like getting their contacts or anything like that, which honestly I'm kind of bummed that I didn't. So I wish I knew before the cruise that you can totally make friends and get people's contacts and keep in touch. There was one girl, I got her number and we've been texting back and forth, and I'm very happy about that. But then I think about all the people that I met that I'm like, I'll probably never see you again, but I know all these random facts about you, and like we have so many shared interests. I think being open to making connections and maybe trying to follow through with them if you want to is really easy if you want to. That was something that I wish I knew, and if you're thinking about going on a cruise and you're kind of afraid it's hard to meet people, I would say honestly it's really not hard at all. Like people are so friendly. Another thing, which is maybe a little more personal but I don't mind talking about it, is like seasickness and bowel movements. So seasickness, I really thought I might get it. I did get it pretty bad on the first night, but I think it was coupled with the fact that because you're eating like at a buffet, you're eating all this different food that is not normal for you and maybe in bigger quantities. And for me, it all got stuck in there. And I felt so sick the first night, plus the seasickness. It really wasn't that bad at all, but I was just like, just felt horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't really even know what I could have done at that point. I took some Tums and digestive pills. I think something about it just wasn't letting me have smooth bowel movements. I don't know, maybe like even just the rocking of the ship. I don't know, something was like off with my body, and that was not even something I ever considered could happen. But I wish I had kind of been more prepared for how, you know, changing my eating habits and stuff like that might affect my body. I've never heard anyone else say this, by the way, so if you've gone on a cruise and you've experienced something like this, let me know. I had to go back to my room really early, slept it off, and it ended up being fine, but maybe I would have paced myself more food-wise or something like that. The other thing that I wish I knew that I kind of thought about before but didn't think it would be that big of a deal was having a balcony in your room or not. I just went with the cheapest room, which is an interior stateroom, so there's no windows at all. I had read online that you could turn on your TV and see like the live view of the ship from the front of the boat, but I couldn't find that on my TV, so let me know if you've ever done that and if you found it. But yeah, I checked all the channels, could never find that, so I basically never knew what time it was. Obviously I knew it was gonna be dark all the time, and that was great for like sleeping in or taking naps. So I was on deck 8, and the thing is, you can't just like leave your room and go out and find a window. You have to leave your room and go like to a whole nother floor to find the window. So I never really knew kind of if it was sunset or not, but yeah, having a balcony, obviously you would know that. Having a window at all. Luckily our friend did have a balcony across the hall from us, so we would go over there. I think the plus of not having the balcony is that you don't really need to be in your room. Like, you just come back to shower and sleep. But honestly, I think if I had a balcony, I would chill in my room a lot more. I'd probably even sleep outside on the balcony one night or something like that. I've heard people do that, and that seems amazing. So I think depending on what kind of trip you want, I would think more carefully about if I wanted a balcony or not. These next couple of things are things that I did know before the cruise, and I'm happy that I knew them. The first one is that I brought my own shampoo and conditioner because I'd read that they only have like an all-in-one body wash shampoo kind of thing, and that was a life save because obviously like chlorine, seawater, without my own hair products, my hair would have been crazy. So I'm really glad that I did that. I'm also really glad that I brought a lot of different outfits. I'm normally a super light packer, but I did pack like a little bit more, and I ended up wearing everything. So it was a 5-night cruise. I brought outfits for each dinner, and then 2 cover-ups during the day, and then a workout outfit, which that t-shirt I ended up wearing every single time I did the surfing. But I wore every single outfit, and that's kind of rare, but I think on a cruise like people are dressing up a lot more. So if you're a light packer like me, I think it's totally fine to reuse outfits or wash them and wear them again. But if you do really want to get into like the spirit of things, I think everyone does change outfits every day, sometimes multiple times a day, so that's really fun. And I'm glad that I had thought to do that, especially because there's like theme nights. We had Dress Your Best, White Night, and Caribbean Night, and I was on theme for all of them, and it was super fun. Loved that. On the flip side though, for swimsuits, I brought 6 swimsuits because I thought maybe they wouldn't dry in time or something like that. I also brought 2 one-pieces that I didn't wear because I was thinking maybe I want to be more modest or something, because there's families and old people and whatever. People were just really wearing whatever, and I ended up just wearing 3 different 2-pieces. So a bandeau style, kind of more like a sports bra style, and then just a classic triangle string bikini. I just cycled through those, but I basically read that sometimes things don't dry in your room, especially if you don't have a balcony, but that was not true at all in my experience. Everything dried super well overnight, or also it's just so hot on deck. Sometimes I would just hang something wet on, you know, my pool chair or whatever, and it would dry in like 10 minutes. In terms of things that I didn't bring that everyone was kind of saying I should bring or would need to bring, one was the magnetic hooks for the inside of your cabin. In terms of drying things, they do have like, you know, towel racks and stuff in the bathroom. They have hooks right outside the bathroom, on the bathroom door, and then a bunch of hangers. So I did not have any problem with that. I did not need the hooks. You know, if you're thinking, do I get them or not? You probably don't need them, but that's up to you. Same with the clips or the towel bands for for your chair. I've read a lot of people like to use those so the towel doesn't fly away, but I think if you have like even one thing to place on top of the towel, it won't fly away. Also, you can just kind of tuck the sides of the towel down. I had no problem with that at all, and it really wasn't that windy like everywhere you could have a pool chair. I don't think you need those, but if you like them, I saw some on board and they were cute. I would always just put like a water bottle on top of my towel. The next one is a lanyard. Everyone was saying I would need a lanyard for my sea pass, which is kind of like the pass that says that you're cruising with them. It says your room number, it says who you are. So if you have a drink package and things like that, you need to swipe your sea pass. And if you're getting extra purchases or like checking out towels or stuff like that, I think if you just have like a normal bag, totally fine. If you don't want to have a bag, just want to go hands-free. I forgot my card in my room a lot actually, and I would just tell them my room number and they would put it on my room. So I had no problems whatsoever not having a lanyard. I saw a lot of people wearing them, totally fine if you want to do that, but I definitely don't think you need it personally. In terms of the bathroom size and the actual room itself, I was pleased with my room other than the no window balcony thing, but again, I didn't have to pay extra, so the room itself was pretty much what I thought it was going to be. And the bathroom, I watched all of these videos beforehand doing room tours, and everyone says the bathrooms are small, and they are small. It didn't bother me that much personally, but I think it is something to consider, like if you want to have a luxurious relaxing in the shower moment. It's really not like that. It's like a tiny little, you just stand still, close the doors, and then like you're in there. If you're really tall or you know you need space around you, I actually don't really know what the options are for rooms with bigger bathrooms, but I'm sure there are some. I think if you want to like hang out in your room and spend time in your bathroom getting ready, like I never got ready in the bathroom. I would always go to the vanity outside at the desk. I think the room is comparable to some hotel rooms, but the bathroom is like super small. But I lived in Japan, honestly, it reminds me of those bathrooms where like it's just the shower and the toilet in the same room, and at least this one had like the closing door for the shower. So but something to think about if you know you might want to be in your bathroom more. The last thing is the internet package. So I knew ahead of time that if I didn't buy the internet package, I would have limited internet, and then when I got to Cozumel, I used like my international plan just to kind of check my emails and things like that. I decided to go no internet package because I wanted to disconnect, and that was amazing. I personally really did not feel like I needed the internet package. If you wanted to do work or something like that, then totally get the internet package, but it's kind of pricey, and I'm happy that I didn't end up getting that. That was a decision that I think worked out really well in the end. I knew that the app would work, so you could message people on the ship through the app, but I didn't know that you can actually receive some messages. I was getting some iMessages and things like that, but if I got a photo, the photo wouldn't load. But at least I was getting messages enough to know like if there was an emergency, I was still receiving messages on the no internet, free internet. So that was a plus that I didn't know and was kind of exciting. So those are all the things that I wish that I knew before my first cruise. I'm really pleasantly surprised with the experience, and I definitely think I would go again. Specifically on this ship, I think the size was lovely for a first-time cruiser. 5 nights was also like the perfect amount of time for a first-time cruiser. I'll probably do a separate video about this ship specifically. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate if you gave this video a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more travel content or anything in particular, you can leave down in the comments below and I'd be very happy to make a video about it or just chat. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!